bastards ID claimed me Twilight Kim video. So hello, and in this video we're going to be looking at the League of Rhordia for Kings of War Vanguard. These are humans and halflings, and you could say perhaps other races, although in Kings of War and this it's just humans and halflings, and they aren't like Basilian, in which they're closely tied to a religious sect or the Shining Ones, whatever you want to call it, and they're more like a republic in a sense. Well, that's what it says in the bitter background, and they don't see themselves as corruptible as the Basilians, in the sense that the Basilians will say our word is right because we have angels on our side, your word is wrong because we say it is. That's kind of the case. So the warband special ability, in Roar's name, 2 power to use. Use this ability when a friendly human or halfling model takes an armor roll. Human models reroll any dice that fail to save a wound being caused. In addition, remove any fatigue counter the model has on it. Halfling models that are killed by a melee attack may make a nerve test even if they were knocked down to try and get down but not out result. If the model survives, place a fatigue counter on it and place it standing. It is not knocked down. This ability may be used more than once per round. See, how it's worded and how the paragraph's set out is a bit weird. Does the last bit, if the model survives, place a fatigue counter on it and leave it standing? I'd say looking at it, it just counts for the halflings, but looking at it, it could mean both humans and halflings. But on the human bit, you remove the fatigue counter, so is that counterintuitive? It should be spaced out a bit more to make a bit more sense, I feel. So the spells. First one, Celestial Screen. It is short, 6-inch range. No dice roll required. Target a friendly model within range, even if they are engaged. The model receives a +1 arm bonus until the end of the round, i.e. 6+ becomes 5+, to a maximum 2+. So just basically gives you a better armor save, which is a fairly decent spell. Yeah, it's always going to be something good, so yeah, it's definitely a good spell. So Ray Bombard, it's long, 9-inch range, 2d8, piercing 1, and it's got an area effect, 2-inch, 1d8. So if you're not the target but you're within 2 inches of the target, you take 1d8 worth of damage instead of 2d8, which is not bad. Does the piercing add to the area of effect? I'd assume it does, but just have to see. It's not a bad spell at all. If you've got a large amount of enemies around an objective, can really be effective there. Can be really effective there. So starting with the Grunt, we have the City Militia, 7 points, 20mm base. So starting with the Grunts, we have the City Militia, 7 points, 20mm base. Speed 5, melee 5+, range 5+, armor 5, nerve 6, sorry, 1 wound, height 2, 2d8 in melee, none at range. can take a spear for 1 point, which 7 points. Stats aren't bad actually. Melee's a 5, ranged at 5, even though there's no d8s for range, which is a bit odd considering it's got a range stat, but hey ho. Armor's not bad. Nerve's a bit naff, that's probably why it's 7 points rather than a bit higher, and it's only got 1 wound. 8 points with a spear. It's something you probably should consider. I probably won't take them for all of them, but it's not bad as a support option, is it? Next we have the warriors, starting with the halfling brave. 13 points, 20 mil base. Speed 4, melee 5+, range 4+, armor 6+, nerve 4, 2 wounds, height 2. It's got sneaky, stealthy and pathfinder. 1d8 in melee, 1d8 at range. Can take a bow for a point, which is 12-inch range. I can sort of understand it, but 1d8 for range, why? Surely it's 2d8 for range. I don't know. Hits on the 4s at range, which is pretty decent. Stealthy and sneaking and pathfinder also really helps. And nerve 4 is great. It's just the amount of dice you get for close combat and range. It just seems weird to me. Surely have 2 in ranged or 2 in close combat, just not 1 in each. It just seems weird to me. Next we have the House Guard. 11 points, 20 mil base. Speed 5, melee 5+, no range stat, armor 4, nerve 5, 2 wounds, height 2. 2d8 at melee, and it's got headstrong rule. Halberd. Oh, you can take a halberd for 2 points. Halberd. This model has the crushing strength 1 and vicious special rule when making a free melee attack after a qualifying charge. In addition, enemy models that have the cavalry special rule do not get the +1 to hit bonus for attacking this model in its front arc in melee, which ain't bad at all. You're getting a crushing strength, your armor ain't decreasing, which is nice. You've also got vicious, which also helps. Makes you 13 points. Actually, I definitely take this over the halfling brave. Yes, your shooting's decent, but you only get 1 dice on it. That's... I don't get it. Though I suppose if it's your only big ranged option, apart from your... you've got your Marksman and your Spellcaster, I suppose. You've got that. I mean, for your warriors sort of thing, I'd definitely go for the House Guard over the Halfling Brave. If I'm honest, the stats are better overall, I reckon. Next we have the support, starting with the Household Knight. 29 points, cavalry base, because it's mounted on a horse. Gives 1 red power dice. Speed 7, melee 4+, no range stat, armor 4, nerve 7, 3 wounds, height 3. Cavalry, crush strength 1, smash. 3d8 at melee, none at range. Expert rider, this model can also claim the +1 melee attack qualifier for its cavalry special rule against targets of equal height, not just those of lower height, which is fairly decent. +1 melee attack modifiers, hitting on 4s normally, so against most things you're needing 3s before any penalties or any other modifiers, and 3d8 with crush strength 1 and smash. It's not bad. It ain't cheap, but for what you're getting, you are getting something really decent. Raw Marksman then. 26 points, 20 mil base. Speed 5, melee 6+, range 4+, armor 6+, nerve 5, 2 wounds, height 2. 1d8 in melee, 3d8 at range. Finally, something with more than 2 dice. Equipment, crossbow, 12-inch range, piercing 1, reload. May replace the crossbow with a musket for 3 points. The musket is 12-inch range, marksman, piercing 2, reload. I don't see why the musket isn't longer range, and really surely it should be some sort of rifle or something. It's got the combined fire when involved in a group shot action. Models of the same type add +1 dice to their ranged attack roll if one or more other models in the same type in the same type in the group fire at the same target. Essentially, getting more dice if they're all the same type. So if they're all raw marksman in the group fire, shot, shoot action, then they're getting an extra dice. So they're all getting 4 dice. So that's 16 dice worth of shots at you. I mean, musket's 3 points. It's not reload. It's piercing. Same points cost of the knights. Nerve isn't as good. Armour is naff. If the range was better, I'd say always replace. But then again, they're both 12-inch range. So if you're going to take the marksmen, you might as well take the muskets. Having the crossbows being 12-inch range, it can be much use considering how fast some things can be. Yeah, it's not worth taking the crossbow. Next we have the large, which are the Honour Guard. 33 points, 50mm base. Speed 6, melee 4+, no range stat. Armour 5, nerve 4, 4 wounds, height 3. Cavalry, crush strength 2, headstrong. It's got 48 in melee, none at range. The binding, which is 1d8 to use. Spend the power when taking a fatigue action on this model and recover 1 wound the model previously suffered. Can be used with a force fatigue action by spending the power for both. Note the effect of this ability in addition to the fatigue action being taken, not as a replacement for it. So essentially, if you're forcing the model to do something, you can spend the power to heal it a bit. It's a weird way how it works. I'd have thought it'd sort of like remove the fatigue and heal a wound at the same time, or cause a fatigue and heal a wound or something. I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty good large. It's got headstrong, which helps for nerve type things. It's got cavalry roll, and it's height 3. That's really going to help it a lot. Crush strength 2, needing forced hit. 4d8 in melee, that's pretty decent. Armour is slightly low, but your nerve's good, your wounds are good. It's not bad at all, and it's got a self-healing ability, which is all decent. Next we have the Spellcaster. It is the Halfling Sorcerer. 28 points, 20mm base. Gives 1 white power die. Speed 4, melee 7, Jesus. Range 4+, armour 6, nerve 5, wounds 3, height 2. It's got 6th sense and stealthy. 1d8 at range, 2d8 in melee. It's got spells of heal, which is short, lightning bolt, which is long, and wind blast, which is long. For spellcasters, it's slightly cheap because it isn't really doing anything amazing, in the sense of it doesn't have any extra abilities that not other spellcasters have, and its melee stat is utterly atrocious. It's got heal, which will help. Of course it does, heal always helps. Lightning bolt is a good offensive spell. Wind blast, if you can control where your opponent's going, there's a point, but it's something where you have to get a lot out of and know what you're doing to make it work. Next we have the Command, the House Guard Captain. 42 points, 20mm base. Gives 1 red and 1 white power die. So 1 of each, I should say. Speed 5, melee 3+, range 5+, armour 4, nerve 4, 3 wounds, height 2. Crush strength 1, headstrong, inspiring and parry. 48 in melee, none at range. Unleash the Dogs of War. Need 3 power to use this, so they're be good. Use this ability when the model activates to place a new House Guard model anywhere within 3 inches of the House Guard Captain and more than 1 inch away from any enemy models. Poof. Mark this new model as activated. The new model is now a member of the warband for the duration of current game only and does not count for the warband limit for making fallback checks. Wow, that's pretty decent. Does this mean the House Guard gets a free halberd? This needs to be FAQ'd, unless it already has. Put in the comments below what the case is. You could really be a bit cheesy with this and say, yeah, it comes with a halberd. Doesn't say it doesn't or whatnot. But yeah, that's not bad at all. That's really not bad. One red and one white power dice. Yeah, I can see why it's not 2 white power dice actually. I mean, you could get a lot if you spend your points well and have a lot of household knights and a few house guard captains. You could really get some extra models really quickly. And if the house guard captain is near an objective, you could spawn some support for him. I mean, if you're able to take a few house guard captains, you get them close to an objective, and you're really lucky with the power. Summon both. Summon 2 extra house guard. That could potentially be a game-winning ability. But you've got to be lucky to get it off. I mean, other than that, he's not a bad combat character. Melee 3+, 4d8, strength, crush strength 1, headstrong, inspiring, and parry. That's not bad at all. No range d8s, which is a shame, but hey ho. Yeah, that ability though, that is fairly decent. The League can do ranged combat. You've got the Halfling Brave, which can shoot. You've also got the Halfling Sorcerer, which obviously has got spells. That is going to be the weakest stat, however. The thing about the League seems to be is keeping going for as long as possible. Wear down your enemy. Play on the defensive, from what I gather. I mean, you've got the binding on the Honor Guard, you've got healing on the Halfling Sorcerer, and then you've got Unleash the Dogs of War on the House Guard Captain. So with that, it suggests to me you want to keep pushing. You just want to keep wearing the enemy down, healing your stuff, or maybe summon some more House Guard, and just really keep making your opponent just crumble. So that's it for now. Goodbye.